The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
If there's one thing I know, it's never trust a guy with an Australian accent, even in Australia.
Even Crocodile Dundee?
Especially Crocodile Dundee.
Okay. All right, ladies and gents. This episode, we are talking about dangerous animals. When Zephyr, a savvy and free-spirited surfer, is abducted by a shark-obsessed serial killer and held captive on his boat, she must figure out how to escape before he carries out a ritualistic feeding to the sharks below.
It's kind of weird that he had mental issues. I mean, obviously, but I feel like in a way he felt like he was giving back to the shark community for not killing him when he was 7.
Yeah, he was attacked by a shark when he was a youngster and lived to tell the tale. Actually, he had like a big bite mark, but like no flesh taken out. So just a big bite mark.
I mean, he was 7. He's grown since. So I'm not sure how he still has that bite mark of that size if he was 7. Like you would think.
Actually, I wonder that too. Like if you get a scar when you're young and you grow, like it has to stretch with your skin.
You would think, or maybe it did. Maybe it was smaller and maybe it was a baby shark.
Wow, did this film
ruin
ruin the Baby Shark song? And I know just the existence of the Baby Shark song ruins it for people. Just hearing that. I have no objections, but now it's associated with a psycho serial killer, so I will not be singing Baby Shark.
That's okay. I really wasn't going to be anyway.
So we have Zephyr, who is our female abductee / heroine, who is put on this boat and with this other gal who we see at the beginning of the film where she and this guy do this shark adventure. And they get in a cage and experience the sharks around them, and they get up and they say, "Oh, that was so amazing!" And then the psycho killer,
so much shiving.
Just starts stabbing him and then throws him in the ocean.
Shiv. Shiv.
Yeah,
that's the noise you make when you shiv someone. Shiv.
Wow, that sounds hard. I don't know if I would want to have to make all that.
If you want to shiv, you gotta.
You gotta make the sound.
You gotta make the sacrifice there.
That's news to me. I did not see that in the newsletters. So
you're in the you're on the shiving newsletters as well.
I unsubscribed. So Tucker, our serial killer,
too much spam.
Basically abducts girls that are no one will miss, and has one watch while the other gets eaten by sharks, and he films it all and trims their hair and has a whole big cabinet full of VHS tapes filming these girls getting eaten alive by sharks. He is one sick mofo.
Are you kidding? He's incredibly sick. Who the fuck still uses VHS tapes?
Well, do you think you want that stuff going to the cloud?
Well, no, you don't.
I mean, if you're a serial killer, you don't want stuff floating around in the cloud. You're going to put that in your Google Drive?
I mean, isn't there something better you could use?
I mean, any smart serial killer is going to use something that's private, and VHS tapes are private.
Yeah.
So before she is abducted, Zephyr has a couple of hour encounter with a guy named Moses. And fortunately for her, Moses actually notices that she's missing and puts some pieces of information together and ends up finding her on the boat and then gets abducted himself. And then they're both in this dire situation.
Oh, he didn't get abducted. He just got...
Well, I mean, he got beaten up, and then at that point he was chained. So I think once you're chained to a bed with handcuffs, you're abducted.
So what about that old guy? That old guy who literally comes in, saves Tucker from dying, and his reward, hook to the head.
Well, yeah, because he said, "Hey, what's that noise over there?" And he heard the girl screaming. So
because he thought someone was legitimately like attacking Tucker, and he was like he was doing the right thing. Well, you'll regret that one.
Okay,
Both seconds you're still alive.
there are a lot of what would you do's in this film. We have Zephyr, who is a loner surfer who grew up in foster care, so no one is really looking out for her. She has no connections to anyone. We have Moses, the guy she hooked up with, who fortunately does care enough to kind of look into, hey, where did she go and where did she disappear to? And we have Tucker, our shark obsessed psychopath.
That must have been some good poon. He was obsessed trying to get more, but good for her.
Wow. That comment kind of goes in keeping with the film of guys are scum.
It's true.
Guys
it's
are
very
scum.
true.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's probably parts of this film that, as a man, you can't relate to. I know women who don't like to travel alone because if something happens to them, who will know? You know, they won't have any sort of protection, and they won't have anyone that is noticing that they're gone right away if they're traveling by themselves. That's why women, you know, walk in defensive ways and carry keys between their fingers and pepper spray, because you live in a world where guys can throw a bag over your head or grab you by the hair and hurt you.
We're going to start right there with the what would you do?
Okay.
If I'm having someone put a bag over my head and try to choke me out, and
Well,
my arms are flailing, I'm ripping a hole in the bag.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
it depends. If you're in California, we have those really thick reusable bags, so that would be hard to tear a hole in. But if you're in one of the states that still allows those really flimsy thin bags, then, then you have a chance.
That was definitely one of the flimsy thin bags.
That's actually really good advice. Listen to that, gals. That's actually really
just
good advice.
tear the bag. Also,
Well, and sometimes it's a pillowcase or something like that. Sometimes it's not a plastic bag.
Also, if you believe you're in a situation where you are overpowered and you are screwed, like the dude clearly is going to physically overpower you and there's nothing you can do about that, you need to act like you are passed out as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, that is my
The
go-to.
sooner you
for sure.
act passed out, the sooner they're going to stop trying to make you pass out.
And then you actually have a chance of being coherent
Yes.
and escape. Yeah, no, has always been in the back of my mind. Heaven forbid I was ever put in a situation like that.
Don't get me wrong. I think in both those situations, she's still kind of screwed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you have a prayer if you're conscious. It's kind of like what we've talked about with active shooter situations.
Yeah.
You lay with the dead bodies and you pretend that you're dead. You do not let someone actually get you to a state of being incapacitated, and you play along long enough in whatever situation that gets you any sort of hope or chance at getting out of there and getting out of that situation. Yeah, no, I fully support that.
Yeah. More what would you do's, specifically pertaining to Zephyr. Mm-hmm. For one, could you actually pick a lock with bra underwire, or I guess swimsuit underwire? Like, I know with a bobby pin and stuff it's possible, but I think it's because you need. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe a listener can tell me whether or not you can.
Yeah, drop it in the comments. Your lock picking advice.
Yeah, lock picking handcuffs. So there were 2 instances where she had Tucker in a compromised position. The first one, when she stabs him in the shoulder, and
yeah, she broke off part of the pee and poop bucket and broke the handle and used it as a weapon.
and good thinking, girl.
Yeah, I agree.
But so she gets free. If I get free, I'm doing one of 2 things. Either one, I am as quickly as freaking possible taking some limb of his and putting it in the handcuff that I just came out of.
See, but that's scary though, because then if you get that much close contact with someone, then if they come to, you are right within their grasp.
Well, yes,
And he wasn't close enough to not have to have drug him over. I thought that same thing. But anytime it's when she got the key to unlock the handcuff, but then she went back to grab something off of his belt, some other key, and that's when he grabbed her. And when you get in the space of someone, then you put yourself at risk.
I would have done the leg, actually.
Well, I don't think a leg would fit on a handcuff that was the size to hold a girl's wrist. Wouldn't hit. That
Actually,
wouldn't fit a guy's ankle.
I'm pretty sure you could. I mean, it wouldn't be comfortable, but I don't think that's a concern at that point. I mean, at least, I don't know, maybe I'll have to get some handcuffs and try my legs.
I think at that point, I would maybe look for something else to stab them with while they were down. They're down for the moment they're out. Hit them with a piece of metal or stab them again or somehow further take them out. And
so there wasn't anything else that I could tell around there that could have been used so much as a weapon, except possibly the other half of the bucket that broke off, because that would have.
Yeah, she used half of it as a shiv, so you certainly use the other half.
So you've got this, and that was the other thing. If I can't incapacitate them, I'm going to stab them. If I've got the other half, I'm going straight for the freaking heart. Like I am. Like, listen.
The neck's a good place. I've learned from horror movies the neck's a good place.
Neck's fine. I mean, if I don't have the other piece or I can't get to it.
Because if you're a girl, you probably don't have the strength to get through the rib cage and everything to actually damage the heart. But you want to go for some blood loss. I think the neck is kind of low-hanging fruit.
Neck will definitely get you there.
No bones.
So that's the first one. The second time, this is where I started to think that maybe it was okay if Zephyr died.
What?
Maybe I was starting to think this because she hits him with a frying pan, like a cast iron skillet, like you go night type thing, at least for momentarily. And if he's down, I'm going to go over to him and I'm going to take that cast iron skillet and I'm going to bash his head in with it over and over and over and over and over until I see gray matter.
Yeah, no, that is good advice, folks.
Like the thing is, you're on a boat in the middle of the ocean, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, by the way, it's shark-infested waters already. So you escape is not really the plan.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like a WWE cage match. You win by pin submission or escape from the cage. You do not win by escape from the cage.
Yeah, you're stuck there and you're waiting for some other ship to go by or a helicopter. You're waiting to be saved and seen. And at that point, you don't even know how far you are, really. I mean, she saw a passing party boat on 2 occasions, but it was way too far away for them to hear her.
But you have a boat that does work.
If you know how to work it.
If you can kill the person who's abducting you, you can figure it out from there.
Yeah, I think if you have any moral issues with killing, you got to get over that if someone's trying to hurt you.
Oh, yeah, no.
If you are abducted and kidnapped or restrained in any sort of danger, you set that aside and you do what you need to do to tell the story and get back to your family and live the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'm a 49 or about to be a 49-year-old guy. If ever I'm in an altercation, like a physical altercation that's not like, I don't know, me deciding at 49 to step into UFC or something like that.
That was an episode of Friends. I would joke. Everything was an episode of Friends or Seinfeld. Just
if we get into a fight, I'm going to assume you're trying to kill me, and I'm going to try to kill you. And I'm going to have zero reservations about it whatsoever. Like, I could snap someone's neck in that situation, and I could sleep easy at night.
Yeah, the problem you want to have is explaining to the cops what happened.
Not the cops having to try to figure out what happened.
Yeah, not them coming up with your body and having to notify your next of kin.
Yeah. Yeah, she kept going with the escape model, and I'm like, no.
Also, too, on a ship, the person who lives on the ship is going to know it better. Ships are very complicated structures with all kinds of weird little things that go places, and you don't know. Even if it's a house, it's hard, but frick, a ship is
you're in their
way
domain.
worse.
Yeah, you're in their domain.
You're not going into a room and jumping out a window or something like you can in a house.
And here's the thing. You're not going to physically take that guy. I mean,
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was-
think I could physically take
Tucker
that guy.
was a muscular guy.
So the only way you're going to get him is by surprise.
Well, and going back to how this all started is Zephyr left Moses after they had a tryst, and she kind of got all uncomfortable saying, "Oh, I meant to be a loner," and she left without telling him.
I'm
And
a loner, a rebel.
And she went to the beach and she was going to go surfing. So it's dark. The sun's not up yet. She sees a guy in the parking lot, asks to borrow a
Probably some surf paraphernalia that I am not familiar with.
fin key, I think it was, from him.
Fin key.
She does it. She goes doing what she's doing in her van. He pulls off.
The whole time they were having that, I already had my hands over
And-
my eyes because I knew it was coming out of nowhere.
And that's the thing is, sadly, if you're a woman by herself, someplace isolated and dark, you cannot turn your back to the public. What you do is you get in that van and you face outward as you go to it because, okay, sure, yeah, you're still in danger. Or better yet, get in the van, close the door, and then look for what you're doing. You cannot turn your back. You just can't. That is sadly the world that we live in. If you're a woman by yourself and you're somewhere where there's nobody around, you just can't have your back to anything because you just don't know. And that's a way of feeling that guys are just never really going to completely understand.
Yeah. So, do you know what makes human beings the most evolved species on the planet? Like, what is like probably maybe not the first biggest thing, but the second biggest thing?
Most evolved? I mean, primates can do the things that we can do
Yeah, pretty much. And they're
because we came from primates.
Yes.
Newsflash for those of you who think otherwise.
I have 2 words for you.
Okay.
Opposable thumbs.
Oh, okay.
The fact that you have opposable thumbs, and when she ate one of her thumbs, or
Well, she didn't eat it. She bit it off.
yeah, which
Because she was trying to get her hand out of the handcuffs and was not having any luck, even when she broke her thumb.
Yeah.
So then she just bit it off to try and get.
yeah, if you're gonna do that
of
break
it.
a thumb thing, you have to get it out immediately because if you don't get it out immediately, it will swell, and then you're screwed. Like,
Well, and unfortunately, as soon as she broke her thumb, he came in and she had to pretend that nothing had happened. So
but that girl's got some freaking core strength. She somehow climbed one of those spears with 2 hands and 1 thumb.
yeah, she was fit. She's a surfer. I mean,
like-
surfers are serious athletes with lots and lots of strength.
Because that hand with no thumb is useless.
Yeah.
I mean it's completely useless. You can't grip without the thumb.
Well, I mean, you can, but it's
How?
significantly harder.
How do you grip a spear without your thumb?
Well, she didn't. She was using other hand, and she was bracing the spear on her thumbless hand when she was in the water.
I mean, I'm just saying when she climbed it,
Yeah, I know.
that like she was having to basically climb one-handed.
Surfers are
That's some crazy ass core strength.
some seriously strong people. You
Yeah.
are using every bit of your body when you're a surfer.
But let's get to near the end here
Okay.
when Mrs. Zephyr picks up a harpoon.
Yeah.
And at this point, Tucker's screwed. I mean, he doesn't see it coming. She's holding a harpoon gun and clearly not going to have a problem pulling the trigger. Okay. For one, what did she said that song name? What song was it?
Oh, it was a CCR song,
It was
Zippy Bop or
yeah,
something.
it was dumb.
Yeah.
It was dumb. Come up with if you're going to murder someone with a harpoon, you need
Well,
to.
because that was the song that she had been joking with Moses
I
about.
know.
It had significance throughout the entire film.
I know. But here is where I knew that it would be okay if she died. Do you know what the thing about a harpoon gun is?
What do you mean, the thing about a harpoon?
It shoots a spear. Do you know what's attached to that?
Ooby dooby.
Ooby dooby.
Okay.
Do you know what yeah. I like surprise motherfucker better than ooby dooby as a catch out of nowhere. For you Dexter fans. Attached to that spear is rope.
Yeah. Because your goal is to gore another living creature.
And wheel them in.
Yeah.
You've shot your harpoon. There's rope. You can see the rope. Figure out where the hell the rest of the rope is. and get it away from you immediately?
Okay, so yeah, that's really good advice. If you've been fighting for your life for a couple of days and then you finally think you've killed your captor, I don't know how clearly any of us would think. I mean, yeah, that makes perfect sense, but how clearly? What would you do? I don't know if I would have the...
But that said, how did it actually draw her in?
Well, it got wrapped around her legs. It started pulling, and it got wrapped around
did it
her
actually?
legs.
So,
Yeah,
wait,
it wrapped
so-
around her
so
ankle, and then
she-
it whipped her in.
So she got it wrapped around her ankle?
Well, it wasn't wrapped around her ankle. So as the harpoon Tucker got carried off, it pulled, and she was standing amongst the rope, and then the rope just kind of went up around her ankle as it started to accelerate being pulled off the
It just
boat.
feels like it wouldn't.
I don't know if that's fair to say that anyone would have the awareness to be like, oh, I'm near a rope. You just know that you shot or that you harpooned the bad guy and he's no longer on the boat. I mean,
if nothing else, I'd want to get rid of the rope because just in case I didn't kill him,
Yeah.
I don't want him to have a way of being able to somehow pull himself back or get back, or I want nothing. Just give him nothing.
Yeah. And that's the thing with so many horror movies is that somebody almost gets away, they almost injure the bad guy, and they don't go all the way. So as Scott said, beat the living beep beep out of them until there's nothing but gray matter.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like when you think they're dead,
Yeah,
assume
keep
that
going.
assume that they are lightly injured
Yeah.
and keep going.
20? Nope, go for 25.
Yeah.
Whatever. How many
I would
slams
rather
with the
have to
pan.
explain that later and just say, listen, I was fighting for my life and I was going to leave zero doubt that this guy was not going to be able to touch me again.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I'm going to try to think what else you're doing. What would you do?
Well, I
basis.
think what would you do? The first abductee, who was the part of the couple that had gone shark diving, she was on a gap year traveling, and she and her mom had gotten a big fight because her mom says traveling's dangerous, traveling alone is dangerous, don't go, don't do it. And then she's like, great, my mom told me it's dangerous, and basically here I am.
Well, it's because when you travel alone like that, you end up in hostile environments.
Yes, she stayed at a hostel. Ha. Okay, so
Where's my sound effect button? Damn.
I think the one part of that is when they went on that shark diving expedition, they were the only two on that ship.
Hang on, sorry. Yeah.
And Tucker made a joke about like, oh, so nobody knows you're here. Okay, if anyone ever says anything like that to me, I don't know if my spidey sense would let me just brush that off as a joke. But if you are ever the only one or two people in any space with any sort of stranger, don't. Doesn't matter what that is. I mean, I guess if you're two hardy, robust guys, you're probably not going to think that as a woman. I'm sorry, we think these things.
I'd like to think that what would you do if I was near someone who had kind of like a, I don't know, rundown type boat situation, and you're like, this is kind of...
It didn't look run down. It looked appropriate for shark diving.
But I mean, like, you're like, okay, you know how you have corporate, like, well done things, and you have like that dude out there with his boat that's trying to make the extra money that's maybe a little questionable. I'd like to think that I wouldn't even do that to begin with, except for the fact that I actually have done that. So I can say nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and this is just the single white female in me, is let people know where you are. I mean, I know if you're probably traveling by yourself or doing hostels, that's hard to do, but like someone should know where you are. And this is something that I actually do think about is if something happens, who knows? Who do you have to come look for you? Who's going to miss you? And when you live a lifestyle like Zephyr did, and you also had Heather, who was traveling, who was the first victim, that's the kind of gals he preyed on.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, all this movie does is feed into your fears of stuff like this. You're like, see? Justified. And I'm like,
but it is justified.
I'm like, see, Hollywood. But unfortunately, you are correct. And I hate that. is that, I mean, listen, women can be psychopaths too, 100%, like equal rights.
Yeah.
But in general, you take a average male and a average female, the average male is going to be bigger, stronger, faster than that average female. So that's why you don't hear about too many female psychopaths pulling off crap like this, because if they try to abduct men, eventually there's probably going to be a problem for them. But you get a big dude abducting women. I mean, it doesn't help that dudes are creepy.
Yeah.
They're just scum. Screw you guys. Wait.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.